Well, joining us today is Jeff Reiland. He's with Gunderson Health System, and he's a child and family therapist there. We're here today to talk about how to try to reduce the distress that can be caused for kids when their parents are going through a separation. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be married. It could be girlfriend, boyfriend too these days.
Right.
But any separation like that, you're reestablishing households, how to kind of keep that stress down for kids. So one of the first things we have to think about is trying to keep that consistency, the routine intact. Why is that so important?
It's really important for kids to have this stability or sameness between both environments, both mom's house and dad's house, because kids need predictability, they need normalcy, they need something, routines and things that they can really know from day to day. How are things going to go? Meal times, bedtimes, rituals, rules. The more that they're the same, the easier it is for kids to transition between environments.
Okay, which makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Part of that transitioning back and forth successfully also includes the parents being able to still talk. And a lot of times we call it co-parenting.
Yes.
You're parenting still, but in different households. So what are some of the things we should keep in mind as far as trying to keep the communication lines open between the parents?
An important thing would be to avoid putting kids in the middle by having direct communication between mom and dad. And when they are talking in front of children, to talk about parenting things and not the other stuff that can get kind of messy. And so they might have those conversations that could get heated at a different time when their kids aren't around. But talk about how the day went, how the evening went, if the child's on medication, if they need a new prescription, or if they forgot something, all that kind of, those day-to-day things. So kids can hear mom and dad getting along, talking about them. But when they're fighting and they're talking about them, kids think they're responsible for it. And so we want them to not think that. We want them to believe that mom and dad can still do this even if they're not together.
Very good. And also, even thinking ahead and down the road for kids, that you want to be modeling good co-parenting. Whether they're parents, they become parents themselves later in life and they're married or not, it's just really important because you're showing them kind of modeling that behavior.
Right. One of the most important things parents can do, whether they're married or not, is show how to have healthy adult relationships, especially with the co-parent. They need to show how to have that healthy co-parent relationship so kids get an idea of what healthy looks like, even when parents aren't together.
And one thing we should also mention too, eventually a lot of these parents will go on to have other relationships, but really there is a certain amount of time you should probably wait before establishing new relationships.
Yes, it's before involving children in those new relationships for sure. And it's a difficult thing for parents to hear because many times they just want to get on and move on with their lives. But it's really important for children to have that new nuclear family of that parent and the children to really establish those new routines and relationships with that parent before they introduce a new person. Also, if they introduce a new person too soon, the child will think that new person is the reason that mom and dad are no longer together, and that creates a very big barrier for children.
Very good. Jeff Reiland, thanks so much for joining us today. And if you'd like any more additional parenting tips, you can always head to our website at news8000.com.